not lost on me that every single one of these records was cherished by someone at some point. Someone ran out to the store to buy one of these records. Hey, this is Russ from the Infectious Groove Podcast and, of course, the Infectious Groove Podcast YouTube channel. Wanted to do a little bit of an update because one of the things I always get asked about whenever anybody sees pictures of this place, or certainly that first video that we did, is these records on the wall and the decorations in general that are here. So I obviously love vinyl records. I love music in general. And a lot of people tend to worry that the records on these walls were ruined by what we did with them. And as you saw when it was just zoomed in a second ago, these records were completely unplayable and on their way to a landfill, unfortunately. Like, they were either going to find a home here or go to a landfill and never see the light of day ever again. So I just want everyone to know who watches this video that we in no way, shape, or form are ruining records or making things unplayable. As you saw at the beginning of the video, a lot of these things up here were so beat beyond recognition that they were never going to get played again ever. But we were given the records and trying to figure out something to do with them. And my wife came up with the idea of putting them up on the wall, because that way they're still seeing some sort of life. They're still surrounding people who are enjoying and loving music. And it's not lost on me that every single one of these records was cherished by someone at some point. Someone ran out to the store to buy one of these records and loved it, played it a million times. All of these things powered parties and weddings and dances, and it's very important to me that things like that live on. And so now all of the memories and the past life of these records lives on, surrounding us while we listen to all of these records every week, everything here in the bins, instead of just going to a landfill and never being enjoyed in any way, shape, or form. So I want to make that clear, because I have had some people in the vinyl community before be under the impression that maybe we just put 45s on the wall. They are real records, but we didn't ruin them by putting them where they're at. In my opinion, we actually gave them a new life, a way for the memory to live on. Everything that you see on these walls is almost all some sort of sentimental value to myself or people that hang out here on a regular basis. Things that I've got, people have given me for birthdays or anniversaries, or even this. My father-in-law gave me this old calendar here, and it's funny. Many people see this calendar in pictures, and they always ask, why is it's not July? Or like, was that picture taken in July? This is a guitar calendar from 1994, so that doesn't even matter in the first place that it's up here. I only put it on July of 94 because that's my personal favorite concert month in the history of concerts. I got to see Pink Floyd live that month. I saw Metallica a couple of times. I saw Depeche Mode a couple of times, and that all happened in July of 94. So when somebody gave me an old calendar from 1994, I figured, well, might as well turn it to July and just leave it up there. So little things like that are always up here. Now, when you get over to this side here, there's a couple of things over here that are really a big deal to me. One is this right here. I kind of made this frame and everything myself for this. And in the center there is a cutout from an autograph from Roger Waters, who, if you watch the channel, if you listen to the show, you know that I'm a giant Pink Floyd fan. And Roger Waters is probably my single favorite songwriter of all time. And I had the pleasure of meeting Roger for maybe 1 or 2 minutes while he was doing the Wall Tour back in 2011, the second leg of the Wall Tour. He came here to Detroit. One thing led to another, and I was fortunate enough to meet him for a couple of seconds. And it's funny because the other people that were there with me were very clearly eBay, like record flipper guys. They all had like 5 copies of The Dark Side of the Moon, 5 copies of Wish You Were Here. And here I am standing there with, I literally had just a blank piece of paper because that's all I had in my car, and I didn't know this was going to happen. And Roger Waters actually kind of made a joke about it, like, oh, you're not giving me something that you're going to turn around and sell? And I was like, oh, absolutely not. Like, all I want is proof of the fact that I've, stood here and talked to my favorite songwriter of all time. So that means a lot to me. In addition to that, what I did with all of these things on the wall that you see is we went and bought a bunch of old Rolling Stone and Spin magazine issues and took those, cut out all sorts of little things. Like, this is minor to most people, but if you look here, I have the full page ad for the Black Crowes' third effort, Amorica, with the original cover that was advertised. Then right next to that, from, it's funny, but from the next issue of the same magazine is an article about the censorship of that particular record. So little things like that. I've got the full page ad for the very first Pink Floyd album I ever bought, The Delicate Sound of Thunder, you know, the announcement from when Full Moon Fever was new, just little things like that that are fun that you find in these old magazines that are like time capsules. So there will be people who have maybe only ever seen the censored cover of Amorica and don't know the backstory or whatever. So things like that draw people's attention to it. A couple of the other things that are up here too are just things that have come out of records. Like another Black Crowes reference is this huge poster that came in the 7-inch box set for the Black Crowes' fourth album, Three Snakes and One Charm. In the corner, you have a couple of cool gatefold size posters that came out of a Mayer Hawthorne LP and Fun's Some Nights effort. Then you have, you know, Madonna, great fold out that came from the True Blue album. Yet another Black Crowes reference up there. That's not an actual album cover. That's one of those 12-inch placards that you used to see hanging in record stores back when record stores were a thing. It does have all 5 members of the band's autograph on it. I did not meet the Black Crowes at that time. That was gifted to me by somebody who used to work in the record industry and wanted it to have a home here instead. So in the very first video for the channel, I talked a little bit about how everything on these walls is all meant to remind you of and grow your love for music. And I wanted to make sure to clear up if there's any misconception about the records on the wall, how they're there, why they're there. I wanted to make sure to clear that up and share just a little bit more with you about what's going on here. As always, I got to remind you, make sure you subscribe to this channel, make sure you share this channel with everybody, make sure you like this video, comment on this video, and if you're not listening to the Infectious Groove podcast, go ahead and fix that. You can go to any podcast platform, wherever you're already listening to platforms, type in Infectious Groove podcast, bring it up, hit that subscribe button, and you're good to go.